Top Gun Maverick is finally here, but what's with those anonymous bad guys? And how did the trailers mislead us about the movie's plot? The best and worst of Maverick straight ahead. There's no doubt about it, the thing that everyone will be talking about after seeing Top Gun Maverick is just how thrilling the aerial scenes are.
Just want to manage expectations.
A huge part of the film obviously takes place on and over US soil, as the class trains under Maverick's tutelage. But even those practiced dogfights are a shot of pure adrenaline, as the old dog has plenty of tricks up his sleeve to get the best out of the new pilots. But when they start training for the extreme G-force they'll deal with on their mission, director Joseph Kosinski really cranks up the tension. Maybe it's the fact that Goose dies in the original, but there's definitely the feeling that any member of the team could be killed at any second. When the team actually manages to pull it off and they destroy the uranium plant, it feels so satisfying for the audience because we know how hard they've worked to get this far. The film does a pretty good job of carving out the tense relationship between Maverick and Bradley Rooster Bradshaw, and it's understandable why the young pilot would be so hostile toward his father's best friend, considering the circumstances. But even so, it comes across like the audience is missing something. Eventually, Maverick confesses to Penny that he pulled Rooster's Navy papers to stall his career. Why? Because he'd made a promise to Goose's wife that he'd stop Rooster from ending up like his dad. No, we don't see Meg Ryan reprise her role. We're only told that Maverick made her the promise before she died. It's a poor choice of plot development because it doesn't actually achieve anything. Yes, Rooster's career was pushed back a few years, but he still winds up becoming an ace pilot. And he's not at a disadvantage alongside the rest of the squad. The reveal about the promise also doesn't drastically change his relationship with Maverick, since it was already strained in the first place because of Goose's death. Top Gun Maverick is an epic race against time to blow up a uranium plant, one that requires expert precision and just the right amount of speed to make it into and out of the mountains. And although it goes smoothly for the most part, one moment sees Rooster nearly get gunned down, and Maverick uses his own plane to save him by throwing himself in the way. It's here the film throws the audience a curveball by ramping up the tension in a new way, as Maverick crash lands behind enemy lines and even tries to outrun a gunship that tries to annihilate him as he runs through the snow. It feels like an extra chunk of the movie that we didn't pay for, because by that point, the movie and the trailers had lulled the audience into thinking that all the action had to take place in the skies. It feels very unpredictable in the best way. There's no way Paramount could have done a Top Gun sequel without bringing back Val Kilmer. It would have been blasphemous. Thankfully, Kilmer reprises his role as Iceman, who has since progressed through the ranks to become a 4-star admiral in the Navy. And he still bails Maverick out whenever he gets in trouble. Because what are friends for? Iceman's even there to offer his friends some guidance with the team and with Rooster when things start to get tough. It's an incredibly touching moment, one that really helps provide part of the emotional backbone of the film. But as Iceman's wife, Sarah, explains to Maverick, the Admiral is suffering from cancer, and he doesn't have long left. Unfortunately, he passes away before the uranium mission and gets a full military funeral to honor his legacy. It's sad, but it also feels a little morbid considering Kilmer's recent struggle with throat cancer. The star went public with his diagnosis back in 2017 and underwent chemotherapy as well as a tracheostomy, which has damaged his voice. Although thankfully he's been cancer-free for a few years, killing Iceman in Top Gun Maverick and making such a big deal about his death feels a little off. During the finale, Top Gun Maverick delivers yet another punch-the-air moment as Maverick and Rooster are just seconds away from making it back to the aircraft carrier following their daring escape out of enemy territory. It's a pulse-pounding sequence as they dodge missiles and try to outmaneuver the last fighter jet that just won't stay off their tail. That's when Hangman roars onto screen as he swiftly shoots down their attacker, saving the day. The moment works so well largely because of the rivalry between Hangman and Rooster, which the former takes too far by making jabs about Goose earlier on in the film. The hot-headed pilot coming in at the last minute shows he's capable of redemption, as well as proves to the rest of the squad that he's not as selfish as he makes out and that he's a team player.
Where's he going?
That's why we call him Hangman. He'll always hang you out to dry.
Yes, Rooster and Hangman are the new Maverick and Iceman, but it works so well. Unfortunately, there's one element of the big mission that doesn't quite work so well, and that is encapsulated by this question: who exactly is the US Navy bombing? During the briefing early on in the film, it's made clear that the uranium plant will help the country's enemies produce nuclear weapons, and that's why it has to be blown to smithereens. But the Top Gun sequel avoids actually explaining who it is they're up against. The only thing we know is that this nation exists in a snowy, mountainous region to the east somewhere. And when the pilots eventually go head-to-head with the enemy in the sky, they're dressed in black flight suits with no flags or patches that can be seen anywhere. Their enemies even wear tinted helmets, so the audience can't assume it's one particular nation. It's understandable that Paramount doesn't want to single out any particular country as the enemy, especially when there are enough political problems in the world right now. But avoiding the issue entirely almost makes it more obvious. The easy option would be to just have the enemy as some kind of rogue terrorist cell. Then it wouldn't look like the studio is trying to tiptoe around real-world situations. Of course, this could also be attributed to the fact that Paramount wants to make the sequel universally accessible, rather than alienating a specific market. Tom Cruise is obviously one of the biggest A-list actors in the world, and when he makes a movie, he makes a movie. Top Gun Maverick is such a full-throttle experience that it's easy to overlook his performance at times due to the sheer impressive action that's constantly unfolding on screen.
Push beyond your limits.
But Cruise's performance is at the heart of that, and it's his work that really sells the intensity of every risky move, every argument, and every dogfight that the film has to offer. But as entertaining it is to see his face get pulled back by the G-force, Cruise's best work is done in the movie's quieter moments. The playful dynamic between Maverick and Penny highlights his charisma, but they also have a tender, quiet respect for their vastly different lives. Then there's obviously the brilliantly heartfelt scene with Maverick and Iceman, which helps the seasoned pilot figure out a way of making his students actually behave like a team. And although we have our issues with the movie killing Iceman, Cruise's performance in the funeral scene feels genuine and well-earned. Of course, he pulls out his signature action hero run in the finale. But the moment which perfectly captures what makes Cruise great in the sequel is right at the start when he races alongside a jet while on his motorbike. The man's got a grin from ear to ear, and it's obvious he's having the time of his life. Admittedly, this one isn't such a terrible crime, mainly because it has been over 35 years since the original film came out, and it's not like it has been a long-standing franchise with numerous sequels or spin-offs. Some nostalgia is to be expected, but it's almost like a paint-by-numbers affair at times. Everything you jokingly think of in a Top Gun sequel is definitely there. It even kicks off with a montage sequence of aircraft carrier crew members prepping fighter jets for takeoff set to the iconic Kenny Loggins classic from the original soundtrack Danger Zone. There's tense rivalry between pilots, only this time it's Rooster and Hangman rather than Maverick and Iceman. And of course, there's the obligatory shirtless beach scene where they all kick back with some team-building exercises. The 2022 movie even recreates Maverick and Goose singing Great Balls of Fire on the piano, but with Rooster and the rest of the pilots at Penny's bar instead. It's not that these things are bad, it's just that they're a little predictable. Thankfully, director Joseph Kosinski mostly leans on the right side of nostalgia here. And although it doesn't look like there will be a Top Gun 3 anytime soon, the baton has clearly been handed over to Rooster, Hangman, and the rest of their squad. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about your favorite movies and TV shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.